everyone. Welcome to HASSDISCUSSES podcast hosted by me, Michael Haspin. We're here with Palm Tree, pretty awesome lit music. Okay, double meaning, as do majority of Lil Wayne bars. Okay. Anyways, what do you like? You do an awesome podcast show. You got the articles out. Your family, the music journalism is in your blood. Okay. Talk about your family's involvement with music journalism and how did that start?
What's up, motherfuckers? Thank you for having me. Just playing. My family's involvement with music journalism and how did that start? Well, my pops has been in radio and record promotion since the 80s. Growing up, seeing him do his thing and, having uncles in this business kind of inspired me to want to get my hands dirty and my feet wet in this. When you live in LA and, on your way to school, you're passing by Disney television studios and passing by Warner every day. You're like, I wonder what it would be like to work there. But really, when I was in high school, I was reading music blogs like Mascarilla and Two Dope Boys. And I always loved how they would, mix, like they talk about like Brother Ali and then Lil Wayne.
You know about Brother Ali?
Oh shit! What you know, bro?
Man, dude.
I'm like the hugest Rhyme Sayers fan you will ever meet. Like Slug, Brother Ali, POS. Those are like childhood heroes to me. Yeah, man, I got love for all that. My family is from Minneapolis, so Rhyme Sayers, means a lot to me. Growing up, I used to play the Tony Hawk video game, so that's when I first started hearing like Atmosphere and stuff. But yeah, huge Rhyme Sayers fan, Brother Ali fan. I've met him a couple times. I used to have an autographed paid dues poster that Brother Ali signed.
That's dope.
Yeah, so huge fan of that scene, and that's really what my first introductions into underground rap, first fascinations was really Rhyme Sayers and Def Jux, if you know who those are, so those labels.
That's cool. Like you've been like involved in like listening to a bunch of like and sort of doing journalistic stuff centered around underground rap. But what was the first member of Sesh Hollow Waterboys that you ever heard? Because like I assume you know way more about them than me. You got the merch and everything.
Good question. The first member of Sesh Hollow Waterboys that I heard, it was probably Bones. I remember when Mascarilla was posting a lot of his stuff, or when Xavier Wolf was Ethel Wolf, and I was on like Bandcamp listening to a little Raider Clan, or early on, I was kind of dabbling in that sound. So yeah. Bones and Ethel Wolf, and then I remember Ethel Wolf had a song with Eddie Baker. So yeah, early on, and then I met them for the first time, I want to say in 2016. But I went to one of those shows at the House of Blues in LA in 2015. But yeah, all those guys are great guys. I mean, amazing music, cool dudes to be around. So yeah, nothing but love for Wolf. Nothing but love for Bones, Chris, Eddie.
Yeah, and I interviewed Slim Gorilla twice because like me and him like we connected on a real big level, and like I hope to do a third one soon. But I just found out that he did a song with Bones.
Yeah.
I just found out about that because I only really listen to his new stuff because I just found him through Soulze and.
Yeah, shout out to Slim, great dude. That's the first. I call that the first like good interview on my channel. Like, okay, this is how I want shit to look. Because prior to that, I had a couple video interviews, but they didn't look how I wanted them to look. So the whole like vision for how this music media thing for how Palm wanted to be was that first one. So yeah, I love Slim's sound. I love that whole scene, man. Slim, Dreddy Franks, Ramirez, Passion, Doom Shop, Schema. I love all this shit. How it all comes together. So yeah, that throwback, that retro Mackin, that player sound that's where I'm at right now. Been at for a while too.
Yeah, and you like have You you don't just do music every now and then. You kind of do a little video. You do videos like interviews with those models. Like how do those get set up?
Oh yeah. Well, I wanted to open it up to not just artists, but anybody I took interest in, and the porn stars, man. I'll tell you, whack it off, saw them. No, no, I'm just playing, but being serious. I first interviewed a porn star named Christy live in like 2017, and we followed each other on Twitter, and then she also happened to rap and do a clothing line. I'm like, oh, bet. I interview artists on my podcast all the time. Come through. So we did like a phone call thing just like this, basically, and that was the first one. And then same thing with Ms. Mamacita, and I've only had like a few like models or adult actresses, if you will, come through. But like, I do want to have more. But like with her, an artist by the name of Baby Girl, who I had on Palmcast, then through her, I saw that she hung out with Ms. Mamacita. And then I was like, Ms. Mamacita looked kind of familiar. I was like, oh shit, I saw her on the internet, hint. And then, yeah, we had a Zoom because it was like COVID as fuck back then. We had a Zoom and it went really cool. I loved her personality. So I met her like for the first time face to face recently, like maybe a month and a half ago. But yeah, so through Baby Girl, who I had on podcast, I met Ms. Mamacita. And then Aston Martin just randomly followed me back on Twitter. Like, she didn't have to. She didn't know who I was. I could have been a scrub, but Aston Martin was actually one of the coolest guests I've ever had, just because she's so down to earth.
Who's that? An adult actress?
Yeah, an adult. She's not just that, but she's a BBW AVN nominated porn star.
Oh, AVN nominated, yeah.
Yeah, bro.
If I'll be honest with you, that's how I found No Jumper, was through a porn star interview.
I'm going to be honest, because you're a minor, I don't really feel comfortable talking about this, but that's dope,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But, I understand.
LOL.
On the word Aston Martin, are you a fan of the song Aston Martin music?
It's cool. I like when, multiple artists are on a good track. That's not like one of my favorite records ever, but that is a pretty good record.
Even though you seem like around that time, the 2009 to 2013 era, you were real involved in underground, listening to that. Did you like any mainstream music at the time? Like, did you like I honestly think that that's my favorite era of music, just for
Tell me what's the year range again?
2009, 2013.
Oh, hell yeah, man. That double XL freshman class was my shit. Fucking Kid Cudi, Charles Hamilton, Blue, Currency, B.O.B., Wale, even though he blocked me on Twitter, but it's all good.
Dude,
who else was... Yeah, that nigga Wale blocked me on Twitter.
What'd you say?
That's in my, fucking fail Hall of Fame, if you will. But that ain't no fail. That was
in the 1,000 dislikes.
Oh, yes, nigga, fucking Epic Fail Hall of Fames. So, I'm gonna start a collection. Epic Fail Hall of Fames. But, like,
your video wasn't even that bad on Freddie Gibbs. Like, you were very, like, chill in that video.
Okay. One thing at a time, dude. In 2016, I went to Wale's show, and this was when so I did a little vlog about that, and then I reviewed his album Summer on Sunset. I don't even remember what I said in that review, but like, I made a crap ass video that got like 14 views, and then I guess Wale was one of them, and then he didn't like it. But anyway, so he blocks me on Twitter. I just thought that shit was funny as fuck. But he's known to block like a lot of different critics and commentators. I know there's some guys who I knew from working at Hip Hop DX and who've been blocked by him. I think he might have Anthony Fantano blocked. Don't quote me on that, but Wale's, many artists, he's very sensitive. And rather than get all butthurt like, oh my god, one of my favorite rappers of my teen years blocked me on Twitter, I thought that shit was funny as fuck. You know,
Yeah.
and I met the nigga Wale at Janae Aiko's party a few years ago, and it's not like, hey, why did you like screenshot? Why did you block me? I just gave him dap and said I fuck with your music, and they kept walking.
Yeah, yeah. I like. It sounds like Wale's on his phone too much. Let me just, you know what I mean?
I don't know the man, so I'm not gonna try to get in the man's head. I just know the music, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But the thousand dislike shit was a blessing in disguise, bro. Because little did I know that one, I always take accountability on my part. That was lazy ass journalism. It was, you know, a opportunity to really break a story and not sound biased towards one side or another. And many of the viewers thought I did sound biased. Topic wise, it was the perfect storm of, you know, stepping on people's toes. You know, that video, you know, of the man hitting himself with the phone while he was being recorded by a guy who was harassing him while he was at work at a hotel was, you know, the perfect storm of like the guy happened to be gay, the filmer was using homophobic slurs. There, you know, so homophobia, mental health. I talked about mass shootings because Freddie said, "I hope this white boy don't have a gun." Racism, you know. So it was the perfect storm, and then of stepping on people's toes with all these controversial topics, and then for me to end it on like, you think Freddie Gibbs gives a fuck about what y'all think? Freddie Gibbs a nigga. Like for me to say that was less like, and I left it at that, you know, because as you can relate, sometimes it's like it's late at night, you don't really feel like telling the whole story, and like you may have had a long day, but you still got to make that video. So I put it out, I posted it to my site, posted it to the Urban Buzz, and then I was like, hey, this isn't your worst, this isn't your best, just put it out there because I got other shit to do. And then the response from that was like, I wasn't expecting that shit, but it was such a blessing in disguise because it kind of lit the fire under my ass. Like, this is a fucking golden moment. Like, I need a t-shirt must be made. Like, nigga, I got 1,000 dislikes. Like, you gotta make a t-shirt, dude.
You know what sucks now is YouTube makes it so all freaking videos you can't see how many people disliked it.
Really?
They just
do
did
that now?
They just did that. Like that. Even though this happened like a couple months ago, but they just did that this week.
In a way, I'm kind of like that video unintentionally was kind of like my swan song from YouTube. Because, you know, all the little pussy cancel culture kids probably think, haha, we won, we don't see Palm anymore. And it's like, nah, I'm just too busy making money at something else.
Yeah, like you got
your
own shenanigans, you know?
Yeah, I got my own shenanigans, and like there'll be times where I will drop on YouTube, but I respect to the fullest to a real YouTuber, you know, because for me to call myself a YouTuber would be insulting to a real YouTuber. Because you got to put in that grind every single day. You know, I'm a content creator, you know, but like, you know, hey, like I explained in the video where I explained all of this, sometimes it's YouTube, sometimes it's TikTok, sometimes it's interviews, sometimes it's written. It's just like, I'm not telling anybody this is the right way to go. This is just what I do. And if I had it within me to get it all organized so everything would be on every platform, I would do that. It's just, hey, everybody got their imperfections.
Yeah, well, like, the way I look at it, like, with the way I put out content and YouTube, and I just feel like YouTube's, like, I've been on YouTube since, like, those lyric videos that were all, like, made in the same way with the blue background.
Blue screen with the Comic Sans writing.
Yes.
I know what you're talking about.
Like, I've been on YouTube since that. And, like, that, so, like, I'm always going to continue to post on YouTube. Like, even if YouTube, like, becomes worse than it already is, like, even the whole TikTok thing, like, I just limit where and when I post content. And that's why I have, like, a Patreon and, like, my website, because, like, the articles, man, the articles are fun, because it takes you back to, like, the way content used to be, you know what I mean? It, like, makes, like, I don't know, man, like, there's just so much old, I used to be really into books. Like, what type of, like, literature or, like, you know, journalists of the old era, you know, do you like?
Journalists of the old era? are we talking about specifically writers or
Authors too, you know what I mean? Like,
authors on camera? This is an excellent question. In particular, I don't know if I can name a specific. I'll tell you a couple. Maybe Neil Strauss is amazing. You know, and like some people are gonna think I'm a douchebag for shouting out him first, and I'll tell you why. It's just because he started as a music journalist, and for him to be just read the game, and then you'll see this. And I'm not even trying to be on that pickup artist shit, but there's his whole story and the way it's told in that book. I just feel like is phenomenal. Not so much what his whole mission of getting women, but just the confidence he has in communication, where he starts as this AFC average frustrated trump. Average frustrated chump, and then he becomes a pickup artist. So him for sure. I don't really want to shout out anybody whose work I'm not that familiar with as far as artists, but TV journalists. I really like John Quinones from What Would You Do? That was a early guy I admired. Like we were talking about our top fives in the last one as far as media personalities. I always got love for Big Boy. Growing up in LA, like you listen to Big Boy no matter what. I don't even care if you started listening to him when he got to Real 92.3. Like Big Boy sat down with all of them, the best of the best. It was an honor to meet Sway in 2017 and get a little word in with him. Of course him, of course Adam 22. I love Roger from Mascarilla. Early on, I was very inspired by like Shake from Two Dope Boys, Shake and Mecca. I could still go. This is the type of shit I could talk about all day, like Intuition or Lee of Kinda Neat. He's so vested in this game from networking with all the artists, and Lee has the ability, like similar to Adam, just to have such a chill conversation with somebody, and take it step by step, and you really feel like you get to know the person. And he's another one of those like guys with a great ear who's like gets an artist like way before they blow up, like Anderson .Paak and Super Duper Kyle. Like he had those guys like way on. So much respect for him. Other guys, of course, we're soldiers of the same struggle. Other music journalists, I love what Dijon is doing for A Day in LA, or with A Day in LA. We're again soldiers of the same struggle. How he's putting on for all these LA artists, it's just beautiful. I feel like with LA in particular, we're in a big time of renaissance in rap. So yeah, if I'm forgetting anybody of importance, my bad. It's just there's a lot of other music journalists that I really admire.
Can I speak on a few new ones that I should have said when you asked me the Mount Rushmore, but these three I should have definitely pointed out, but I got some that I want to know if you watch or listen to. Blackie Speaks, Hello Yassine, and Trapalore Ross.
I've never heard of any of them.
Blackie Speaks?
I've heard the name sounds vaguely familiar, but I can't be like, oh yeah, he's the one that interviewed so and so.
Yeah, like he'll do a video on like Yassine's. I like Yassine better. He did like a 1 hour, 1.5 hour video on the on Billie Eilish and her come up. Like he basically analyzed how like did a whole documentary on how she's kind of like an industry plant. Like it's I couldn't like summarize it like honestly because like I paid attention but I didn't pay attention. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like Billie Eilish. I actually met her in 2017 standing in line for a XXX Tentacion show. If I ever see her again, I'll tell her that. She'll probably remember. It's cool. We happen to kind of be from the same area. So I like her sound. I think she's kind of like she may not even realize this, but she kind of gave birth to like a whole new era of pop artists.
Yeah, I dig it.
So
I dig it. I just
yeah,
think that like
like
anybody. Yeah.
as far as people who are original, I definitely see Billie as one of them, and
Yeah.
one of the very few.
I have a soft spot for like I don't know how do I say this without saying like a really weird, but like bedroom pop by girls
Oh yeah.
like
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Girl in Red, Claro,
Claro, yeah. Yeah,
beats.
yeah, yeah. In fact, there are it's funny you say that, dog, because lately my ear has kind of been gravitating more towards that sound.
Pink
Where I'm
Panthers too.
finding, yeah, a lot of like cool, low key ladies who do indie pop or do like, you know, lo-fi R&B.
To make you go.
And you know, I kind of credit that to, I don't know what we two-step into, but yeah.
Shit like
I
that.
kind
Like
of,
shit that makes you go like this.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I kind of credit that to like hanging around Vita a lot and then kind of like digging her vibe and just kind of seeing, you know, other ladies who are real chill like that, like, you know, a Denise Valle or Alicia Savoca, Eleanor Kingston, you know. But what I would love is that there's a few that are like this, like, you know, shout out to my girl Rain from the Bay Area. But I would love, like, if, you know, if there was like a black woman artist who was really just on some next level shit musically, almost to that level of a Willow in my corner. I could really benefit from that a lot. So I do want, you know, I I'll be honest with you, man. I do kind of feel like I lack a little bit in coverage of sisters. So I would love to get more dope black women artists in the portfolio, like
Are you talking like the
more
bedroom
interviews with
pop
those.
sound or just in general?
Uh, in not really in general, it would have to be like somebody who's established, somebody who's very different. You know, I'm not trying to find the next Megan Thee Stallion, but somebody who's all, you know, alternative, somebody who's very bold and who has lots of music out already.
Yeah. Out of all the new female
Yeah,
rappers,
kind of like
Mulatto's
a,
got some slappers. I don't know if you.
yeah, yeah. I know about Mulatto, but like kind of like a Deanna Gordon type, you know.
I don't know who that is, but
Do you know who Eve's Tumor is?
nah.
Oh, okay. Just you know, just a black chick that like rocks. Like that's kind of, if you, that's kind of the sound that I'm kind of pursuing.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you want to talk
yeah,
about the exec? What did you say?
if you kind of were like searching for that next sound, what are you searching for, Mike?
I gotta be blunt. And I don't want to make these. I don't want to have these things make a comeback, but I really wish they would have like gotten more exposure than they should have. Is two genres of rap would be really dark cloud trap
Mm-hmm.
and funk. Like I really wish those two like didn't just have a really committed fan base that barely got any exposure and actually got like the drill and hyperpop treatment. You know what I mean? I really wish they like. I really want funk to get the drill treatment. I know people will be like, "No, I don't want funk to go mainstream. I don't want like," and they're or something be like, "And I already went mainstream. You got the Suicide Boys," but like, I really want them to get like a drill and rage treatment, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I just think the problem is funk is so low key, and in order for something to get really successful, it's got to be really marketable. And you know, like props to Freddie Dredd for like, you know, popping off like uh not saying, you know, having being well recepted, that's the word, by TikTok, and then, you know, able to reach new heights with that. It's just uh I think, you know, it's intentionally this underground subgenre, um and it's a little hard to market stuff where, you know, you're flipping old horror movie covers and it's not showing your face, you know.
Yeah, like the Darko video, like it's very like Like I show the Darko music video, people are like, "What the fuck is this?" Like,
Yeah, the way I explain Freddie Dredd is like to people who haven't heard of him is like you kind of take like Pooyah and then mix with a little like LP and then like pour some Young Gravy on it and then
pour
bam,
some
that's
Young
Freddie.
Gravy. That's a
Yeah.
that's the favorite.
Yeah, I mean, they both got that Midwestern white kid swag. So, but Gravy swag is out the park, man. And then looking back on it, like that's probably one of the biggest people I ever interviewed. Like early on, he
You
wasn't
interview
even
Young
showing.
Gravy.
Yeah, that's a Bolt one. It's not. It's a written one. On my website. So,
So that's dope. Like,
yep.
how did that go down?
Shit, we followed each other. How did I discover Gravy's music? Um, did I know about Mia Gladstone first, or I'm trying to remember how I discovered Gravy's music. This was a few years ago, bro. So like,
Yeah.
I don't recall right now. Now I'm kind of making it a point in like every interview or every piece of content to tell the story of how I connected with the person. Yeah, dude, I can't even remember, but
That's just dope in general, you know.
Yeah, kind of running with that Midnight Society scene, like my boy Foreign Forest and Max Wells and Young Bambi. He was kind of rolling with those guys at the time, so I pulled up to see them. They did a show at Hidden Gem in Eagle Rock, and yeah, the rest was history. But I had already put out that Gravy interview before I even met him.
On that style of comedic trap, are you familiar with Shotgun Willie's music?
No.
He made a song called Cheat Codes for Hoes.
That sounds lit though.
Yeah, that's a good one. But it's essentially sort of like a Young Gravy style, but it's really from a lot of like older fucking 50 samples where he's like
sounds really dope.
Yeah, Shotgun where it's Willie. Like or he's got Captain Save-A-Ho, but all the covers like reference some old piece of childhood entertainment, like the cheat codes for the Captain Save-A-Ho has Captain Underpants on the cover.
Oh, that's tight.
Or something. Shotgun Willie dressed like Captain Underpants and stuff like that. But that comedic rap, like, it's good, but it's like I don't know, like it's just hard for people to have like longevity and stuff like that, and a lot of them like either move on to something else like the Lonely Island and stuff like that. And I saw there's a Lonely Island interview where Norm Macdonald was like, this year's the Lonely Island, but I like to call them Sandberg and the other guys. But what other comedic rap do you enjoy?
Comedic rap. I'm kind of like that's my whole thing is I'm less genre oriented and like it's all palm, like, cause back in the day, a rapper had to be comedic to like spark your attention, or they had to be a storyteller. You don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to be lyrical. Early on though, people who were comedic, I guess I like, obviously, like as a kid, Weird Al Yankovic and then Afro Man, and I always thought like Ludacris could grab your attention with the bars and stuff. That was an early favorite MC of mine.
CeeLo.
As far as comedic rap, I mean, I don't really search out for that. Everybody checks out Lil Dicky shit and watches Dave, but yeah, comedic rap. I don't know, and I mean, maybe you're thinking, because I come from stand-up comedy. And then, as a music guy, everything I want to do involves music. So, when I get on TikTok, I kind of craft my own genre as like, if you could just do, it's just random. I haven't even picked a word for it yet, but like, it's just fun when you're on TikTok and you can just like use your own creativity to make a minute-long video, even though now they go up to 3 minutes, but like,
for real?
Yeah, TikTok is, I just saw that update yesterday, but like TikTok really is like a art thing. There's definitely an art to a TikTok, like its own type of theater.
I can agree, but I can agree. I can totally agree with that. Is an art that I'm like a long form content type of guy, but I
Yeah,
feel like um what do
I
they
and
say?
I
People like watch that like TikTok really probably really like Rise of Skywalker. You know what I mean? Like, or it's all fast paced and stuff like
Yeah, and
that.
I'm a long form type of guy as well. I just kind of stopped seeing long form content as having the same benefits or having the same reward factor as short form and hyper short form. So
Yeah,
uh, like it's kind of like, okay, well, my struggle was, after 5-6 years of doing this, I was like, you know what? How do I take this artist who nobody's ever heard of and then like convince you to watch a half hour to hour long interview with them? And unless you're that person's fan, you're just not gonna like do it. And then I kind of realized, it's not so much about like the view count. It's that like I'm adding this to my portfolio. It's that
yeah,
I can. It's the networking power of it. Because often, some of these smaller artists who I connect with, and maybe you've had a similar experience, is that like you sit there editing that motherfucker for like 4 hours, and then you chop that juicy clip, put it out, and they won't even post that shit.
oh my god, that's
Yeah.
fucking hate, bro. And it's like when they posted a week later. No, one time, and I'm not gonna say the name because like you don't need to be doing. I don't need to be doing that. I don't need to be putting nobody on the spot right now. But this guy, I interview him, and it's a pretty banging interview. He's telling me a lot of weird, crazy stories about psychedelics. Interesting, one of the
Mm-hmm.
most interesting interviews I've ever had. And it's out, gets like 10 views, doesn't post that about it. Week later, he posts about it and gets 1,000 views.
Mm.
And it's like, man, if only you
Yeah.
posted a bit earlier. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I don't really have a problem with the time in which it gets the views.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, I'll have like a catchy God rest his soul situation where I'll interview him, and then unfortunately he passed away. Um, and I look back at that as like, hey, I just wanted to have a conversation with dude, and then I didn't know that conversation would be my first and last conversation with him. But if people who want to learn about this guy's life and legacy come to that interview, that I'm all for that. Uh, yeah, but it's just like with when you're dealing with artists, you got to understand you're working with very sensitive people, uh,
Yeah.
and as creatives ourselves, we relate to that. And I don't even want, when you're in a beginning phase of just a relationship with somebody, I don't want to come to rules and regulations like with it, like, okay, I'm only sitting down with you if you post this clip. I could, but it's a lesson in good communication,
Yeah.
because as the platform, there's like, when I'm covering people from different scenes and I'm kind of keeping the audience guessing who, you never know who comes next. It's like, well, you may not be into this person, but there's this person. It's just kind of different, because again, like, this stopped being, you know, it used to still be really, this is still fun, and like I try to still come up with ways to keep it fun, but at the end of the day, when it starts feeling more like a business, where it used to be fun to seek out these new artists, it was fun to find out about a dope artist and write about them or do a video. Now it's like, I've been doing this for long enough for it to become a hustle. There's a good
Side
and
hustle.
bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now it's like it's a business because there's a new Lil What's His Face coming along every single minute.
And it's
Not every
crazy.
single
Like
day, but every single minute. Yeah.
you check it's like you catch someone in their quote unquote prime of that moment. You catch someone where they're oh so confident. It's really interesting to see them like a few months later. I'm not saying like haha they fell. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's good to see like them like maintain like their work ethic like a few months later or talk to me. Like I love when these people these awesome artists they actually like hit me up on a genuine thing. Like they're like, dude, I secured a feature with blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, thank you for telling me. Like I just I love when I see an artist that's real genuine, and then but every now and then it's just like nothing, and it's like I'd say like half the interviews I do, I don't mess with them on a personal level, and half them I do mess with them on a personal level.
Yeah.
But then again, it is a hustle. You know what I mean? You can't expect everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You can't expect, and also you'll find in this business where the thing that was most confusing for me is how everybody's, dapping up at shows. There's always weed, there's always drinking, and it's always such a friendly environment, and so often such an informal environment that it was confusing for me. And you got to remember, like, motherfuckers ain't your friends, and it's just kind of like, as a friendly person by default, sometimes I used to believe like the best thing I have to offer to somebody is my friendship. I honestly, I still believe that. It's just, in a business where you can't take things personally, and a nigga might unfollow you on some just, that's how he felt that day. These things happen, but you can't let the way in which other people act throw you off your pivot. You sit up there, that's happened to me before. You sit up there thinking about why did so above and why won't blah 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 blah, and like, then I don't think this would happen to you personally, Mike, but like I get so like emotionally attached because this is the music you listen to, bro. Like, this is you're on your way to work, you're at the gym, you are listening to these voices, and it just happens to be like you share a personal connection with most of the artists you listen to. So it's just like when you kind of get an emotional attachment to the people, it's like, so I've had to check myself on that and like get a little more mature with that. But it's life. We live and we learn.
I think that like if you go into a situation with like your the higher and higher expectations in a situation where you think you're gonna get a gain out of it, the worse and worse it's gonna be when you like when whatever you're expecting doesn't happen. So I'm saying people should just lower their expectations for like creating content. Like, they should focus on like what they're actually making as opposed to like what's gonna happen when it's out. Which sometimes like I do too much, where I'm like, oh man, this person has X amount of followers, this one's automatically gonna be a hit. And then I realize, and then after I think that to myself, I'm like, oh, my biggest video is just some random 10-minute video where I'm explaining why this movie is like underrated. Like, it's literally my it's like my biggest video is literally has 6,500 views, and is me explaining why this Christopher Walken movie is like really underrated, and I'm analyzing the movie and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And
a big part of content creation is throwing it to the wall and seeing what sticks. Like, going back to that TikTok genre thing I was telling you about, now that I remember, I call my genre of this like lo-fi journalism, because like, bruh, I'm still sitting in my bedroom, I'm still iPhone, iPad, we ain't nothing after 6 years, ain't nothing fancy. And when the stuff that has done the most, the stuff that has had the most success is like hip hop news. So I call it like comedic hip hop news, because like my highest video on YouTube was when Suicide Boys got sued by 3-6. And then my highest video on TikTok was about Bobby Shmurda. So yeah, like hip hop news thing. Because for a while, like, I used to keep it very separate in years past. Like, oh yeah, by the way, like, yeah, I run a music blog, but like, oh yeah, by the way, did you know I do stand up before that? And it's like, what I learned from Cat Williams, one of my favorite comedians, is like this line, like, I love both my girlfriends.
yeah. Well, no, we should go into that though. Comedians that you're a fan of, due to you being in that lane. What comedians are you a fan of?
Cat, Seth MacFarlane, Dave Chappelle. Okay, so that's 3 right there. There's this is tough, man, because I thought I had my top 5 comedians all set to go. We'll start with those 3 for now, and then if I remember any more, I'll tell you. But early on, and some of you might hate me for this. Early on, is when I first started doing stand-up. a CD I borrowed from my instructor, shout out Bobby Oliver, was Carlos Mencia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. I used to watch Mind and Mencia all the time, but then when I really listened to his album, I was like, oh yeah, this guy's funny as fuck and just not afraid to go there.
Yeah.
I mean, he completely fell off. That's something I don't even want to get into because I don't really know how it happened. But yeah, you don't really hear his name much anymore. But like,
do you not know, or do you not want to go into it?
I don't know, and I just don't want to talk about stuff I don't know all the facts about.
Well, I mean, I know. Like, do you want to go into it or not? It has to do with Joe Rogan.
Spit it. Oh, I do remember a video where, like, you know, Joe was roasting him, and then the Amazing Racist was talking to him, and they were all like kind of criticizing him. But you tell me what you know.
I'm not like mad at Carlos, but he's the reason why Joe Rogan's successful is because Carlos stole a bunch of Joe Rogan's friends' jokes. So Joe Rogan went on stage, roasted him, and was like, "What's wrong with you?" Blah blah blah. And then Joe got kicked from the Comedy Store because of that. And then when he got kicked from the Comedy Store, he became like really independent. And Joe and his friend Brian Redban would vlog a lot of their trips to like shows and stuff like that around the country. And then Brian being so like was also a comedian. Brian being so good with communicative equipment just helped him start the Joe Rogan podcast. And he probably, if he was still doing shows at the Comedy Show and real like industry comedian, he probably wouldn't have started the Joe Rogan Experience, in my opinion, without being kicked off of basically all of the comedic industry. And how he got back into the comedy industry is because of the rise of his podcast. But anyways.
Yeah. I mean, growing up, I used to love Joe Rogan on Fear Factor. And then, you know, I've seen his stand-up specials a couple times. And then his podcast is cool. I don't agree with everything he says. I don't always agree with his attitude, but he's a solid dude. I've never met him, but he's all right.
The reason I like him is just because he's introduced me to, like, other people that I listen to more than him. Like, let me be honest. Like, Joey Diaz, I listen to a lot. Duncan Trussell, and a bunch of...
Joey Diaz is funny.
Yeah, man. But let's go back to comedians that I'm a big fan of. I'd say Eric Andre, Norm...
Yeah, Eric Andre's type.
Yeah, Norm Macdonald, and George Carlin. And
classic.
I think Donald Rawlings is pretty funny.
Yeah. I love how you're like an old soul, Lowkey.
Yeah. And who else could I put on there? Duncan Trussell. He's pretty funny as well. But
for sure.
But what else could we? I think that's all we can really talk about. Yeah. I think this is.
Yeah, Mike, I got to step pretty soon. So you got any more questions for me?
Nah, man. Just let me know what any content you got that you could announce, and then we'll wrap this up, man.
Okay. Well, it's always a pleasure. You know, I fuck with Mike Media Inc. heavy. Any content, I mean, just kind of taking it day by day. Album reviews, TikToks, you know, always on the hunt for the next dope artist. I got Akatami and Lil Zave, little behind the scenes of Akatami's new song Pleasure. That video is going to drop soon. Got an interview this week with a lady out of Washington named Stella Mar. Dope sound, dope vibe. Got a, not Palmcast, but interview dropping with Eleanor Kingston. She's a pop artist based in LA, but from Utah. Real chill vibe. I'm kind of gravitating a little more towards pop artists. Hopefully gonna have Ralphie the Plug from Stink Team. That'll be chill. And then just taking it day by day, man. Just, you know, when I have time to drop some dope shit or drop some funny stuff, I will.
Hell yeah, man. Thank you for joining the show. Links in the description to your website, YouTube channel, Instagram, and all that. Thank you for joining, and goodbye.
All right, Mike. Always a pleasure.